Hey everyone, we just want to remind you that this is just a silly podcast.
Yeah, like baby games.
Yeah, it's meant to be entertainment. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be funny.
I mean, it's much fun as you can have bitching. But yeah, go on.
I have a ton of fun bitching. Our hate is it's purely hyperbole. There's enough actual hate in the world already. All right.
Speak for yourself. I joined the group.
We love everyone. We encourage you to do the same.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Heck, you gotta try. And now on with the show.
You should be barricaded in your house and kept off of the street, or sterilized, lobotomized, left in a car in heat. Cause the things you say and do tell me your brain cells are at you, and that is why I hate you.
Yeah, I forgot it was counting down. I started too early. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. I'm Matthew, and this is Juaquime sitting here with me. Kinda.
Yeah, I mean, virtually.
Well, that's virtual. Yeah, but, it is what it is. Man, I had a bad day yesterday.
Oh.
It was not a good day. My outdoor camera, this is first world problems and a half. My outdoor camera, it wasn't working for a while. Like for the last few months, it kept telling me it was disconnected, and I'd go check in the network settings on the router, and it would say it was connected. And I was like, oh, what the hell's going on? Why is the camera saying it's not connected, and the router says it is? So I was like, they had the cameras on sale a couple weeks back for like, I don't know, it was like 40% off. So I was like, all right, let me just grab one of the newer ones. I'll try to install that. So I installed it yesterday. I mean, that was like, it was a pain in the butt, but just tedious, right? Like I had to climb up and take the old one out and put the mount up for the new one. And then I have it wired. So I had to like clear the foam off of the hole that the old one was in and run the cable through the new one, refill it with foam. Not anything major, but I got all done and I was all happy. I was like, there we go. Chore crossed off of my list. And I went down to the basement to put a couple of things away that I hadn't gotten from the basement, but I got new foam and I forgot. So I went down the basement to put it away because I have a lot of the tools and stuff down there. And the basement was like not flooded, but like all wet. And I was like, okay, this isn't good. And I went over to...
It's not a wet basement at all or anything.
Yeah, and I went over to my water filter, and I have a bucket under it because it's a cool filter where to clean it, I mean, you have to take it apart to clean it, but it's got this flush feature where you just turn it and it spews water out the bottom of the filter to clean it out. It doesn't really clean it that well. You still have to take it apart and clean the filter.
Yeah, I was about to
manually.
say, it just seems like a hand wave.
I have a bucket under it for because I usually clean it off and then I spritz it just to get all the extra crap out of it. I spray it out. And the bucket was full and it was overflowing. There was water dripping all over. So I thought that maybe I just screwed up and didn't put it on right. Like one of the O-rings or something wasn't sealing it properly. So I took it off and I put it back on. Now it's got 2 pinhole leaks on it, just spraying out. I tried to fix it, and then I ran out and I got. You ever see those stupid commercials for the stuff where the dude like sprays it on a freaking boat with a big hole down the middle, and then he's like,
I have the spray. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there you go. I don't have it, but I mean, I have the spray, but I haven't used it.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
But I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like that Flex Seal.
Yeah, there you go. So I ran out and I picked that up, and then I got in the car and I was thinking to myself, oh, this is great. I'll try spraying on the end. And then I'm looking at the can. There's like giant warnings on it: super harmful, toxic, fatal.
Do not put near water.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. Even though it's the outside of the filter, I probably shouldn't spray this on it. So that was a waste of time. I mean, I ordered new ones. They're just going to take a couple days to get here, and I was fortunate that when the filter was first installed, the guy did a just total shit job. I mean, he totally screwed me, but I had another plumber come later and he fixed everything and he set it up so that I can reroute the water directly into the house instead of through the filtration stuff.
Okay.
So, I just did that, and I just have to wait for the filter. But that wasn't the bad part. That was the annoying part.
I was about to say, this is really mediocre so far.
Yeah, well, so I realized I was getting the old camera together because I figured I'll probably try to sell it or something like that.
Okay.
Because there's nothing wrong with it. I think the problem was that it's an older camera. I think it only uses one Wi-Fi frequency. like the 2.4 and just wasn't connecting properly. So anyway, I'm putting it away and I go, oh, there's another cable not here. I must have left it upstairs in the crawl space above my garage and office where I had installed a camera. So I went up and I literally just walked in to get the camera and put my foot through the ceiling in the office.
Okay, you know what? Fine. I take back what I said.
I was so
you put
bad.
Your foot through.
Yeah.
How?
Well, okay. So
how
above.
Were you fee-fi-foing like up the stairs,
no,
like into the room, like
not at all. So I don't know why they did this, but the people that owned my house before me, or somebody who owned it before me, they took the 2 closets in the bedrooms that are on the wall facing the crawl space over the garage, knocked the closets out, and made like a really big closet over the garage. And then behind that, it makes no sense. It's not heated. There's no air conditioning. It's just this big room. You can't use it. Like, it's just got a bunch of crap.
It's not an actual, like...
Yeah, it's not
no
usable.
Practical usage.
It's like 150 degrees in the summer and 20 degrees in the winter. Yeah. So behind that is just regular above the garage space. And it's above the garage and it's above the office, which is right next to the garage. And they have, like wood panels down across the floor to step on. And I don't know, there must be a gap or something in between some of the boards, and I just put my foot right through it. And there's so much stuff in there that I couldn't tell where I was walking. And it was bad because I kind of put my foot down and I went, oh, that's the ceiling. And I went, that wasn't that hard. I think it seems like it might be fine. And I first went out into the garage to look at the ceiling because I figured like 90% of the space is over the garage. And I looked up and it was fine. I was really happy. And then I walked into the office and looked up and saw the giant cracks in the ceiling.
Oh my God.
I was so mad. It could have been worse. I didn't make a whole hole. It just like caved it out a little bit. So I pushed it all back up and spackled it all. It's still I have to sand it and then repaint it and stuff. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I could have made a huge hole and had to totally replace, the sheetrock. But I was so mad. That's reasonably
upset about it. I'd be pissing and moaning about that if.
Well, I tried to get one chore done, and I ended up with 2 more
chores for yourself.
Yeah. Try to get that, and it's every freaking time. Every fucking time I try to do anything, I try to get one thing done, and I end up making more. I don't know how I end up doing it.
Well, yeah, half the reason why I was late is my mother, who her and I are estranged. She sent me a picture of a letter I got. Because, college was so great when I went, and the loan office wasn't a ripoff at all. So, they were wrongfully had a class action lawsuit against them, and I just got a payout.
Oh.
And for some reason, a lot of my mail still goes to my mother's house.
How long has it been since you lived there?
14 years.
That's a long time.
And
that's crazy.
I've been in my current house 8 years, so there's no reason why I should be getting mail there.
That's
but
really weird.
I think it's because the loan office doesn't exist anymore, and the only thing they had on file was my parents. Was my parents' address.
Yeah, I guess they just send it whatever they can find.
Yeah, that's
I doubt they do a whole lot of work to like do the legwork to figure out where you might be now. They're just like, we've got an address. We'll just use this.
When you move to a place and you re-register and everything, I thought my address would change, but whatever. So
we're talking about the United States Postal Service here, man.
Yeah,
they're not exactly drowning in funds to make things work properly.
Very true, extremely true. They're all still running on gateway computers, but so I went over there. She sent me the letter yesterday. I came over today after taking my daughter to the dentist and then dropping her off at her camp. Went to my mother's and found out they finally sold the house. Now, that doesn't bother me so much, even though it's my childhood home. They sold it. But that's the thing. They're getting rid of stuff because my parents separate. My parents are divorced now, so I'm watching my family just disintegrate. And I know as a child that's one thing, but now I have a grown-up brain, and I still can't reconcile my child like that. that like I can logically go, yeah, it makes
Getting
sense, you know,
getting old
but
is
I
weird.
can't. So, you know, I'm going through and I'm taking my stuff out. I thought I'd just be taking this letter, but I ended up taking my car's full. I have like boxes of
Right.
stuff, and I'm standing in my attic going through sheets of paper, looking at my like old school things and my parents' stuff, and I'm just getting sadder and angrier and sadder and
Yeah.
angrier, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
huh, you know what? There's a silver lining. At least I can't be mad at myself thinking I'm a terrible artist anymore because I always sucked. I was just always bad. So, you know
No.
what? I don't have to be upset at myself for that.
No.
But on a serious note, but it's like it just kind of put me in a weird place, and I've already
Yeah.
had a weird 2 weeks existential nonsense, and so I just made this a sad cast.
That's okay. We we uh
So, but
we cover all aspects of humanity here.
right, but when you mentioned putting a hole through the wall, I had brought this up to my sister, how my and then that's just a weird segue, but how my nieces and nephews, there's 6 of them in one household, 5. There's 5 of them in one household, because the other one's a dog. The 3 boys, decided they were going to one of them wanted to be the Hulk, the other one wanted to be the devil, and the other one I guess wanted to look like they were human fireworks because they found the food coloring dye and just one green from head to toe.
Oh my! With food coloring?
Food
Oh,
dye.
that's rough.
And they did it in the living room, not the living room. Yeah, the living room. So the wood floor was like stained.
Yeah, that's. I don't even know if that'll
And
come out.
their dad is a firefighter, so he wakes up, after being a firefighter,
Yeah,
and
doing
goes
real
downstairs
work.
and goes down to sees it, and he loses it. Which I would have lost.
Oh,
it.
I would have lost my mind.
And he said, "Go outside," and he's on his hands and knees scrubbing, just scrubbing the ground. So these, I'm going to call them gremlins from now on. These
That's
3 gremlins decide, oh well, I want to see if we can make a pool in the basement. So they take a hose from outside, wheel it around into the basement, and put it into I think it's the pallet, this pallet light. I forgot the boiler,
boiler. Okay.
and they stick it
Like
into the
on the outflow valve, like where you want to drain it.
and they
Oh,
fill
shit.
it.
Oh shit!
And while mind you, this man is still trying to clean.
And he's upstairs trying to clean.
Then they start breaking glass on the stairs because either they just like the idea of breaking stuff like little boys do,
Right.
or they were like, we're going to create a Home Alone-esque trap so Dad won't get down to the basement
To stop us from
to see what we are doing. Mind you, a little green gremlin, a little red gremlin, and then a speckled gremlin, all doing this at once, while the dad's just scrubbing at the floor. And my wife calls me and goes, I'm going to go, my whole family is at my brother's house because I think he's going to murder his kids.
I mean, that's definitely pushing the line of, yeah, it might be time for some murder.
And she explained the situation to me, and I got mad as if they were my kids.
Oh, I get it. It's a dad thing. Like, you understand what it feels like to be in that position because you've been in that position before to some degree. And then with that amount, you immediately put yourself in that situation and think about how much you would want to kill everyone.
I was like, where does this stop? Where do you stop? You're not the government. Stop doing bad things for 2 seconds.
Oh
and
my God.
It was
so what happened with the basement?
One after another.
Did they destroy the boiler?
Oh, his dad, my father-in-law and him had to take it apart and dry it, and hopefully it relit. because it got into the pallet stove too. That's what I was trying to say.
There you go.
It got into the pallet light, so they had to take the whole thing apart, dry it, put it back together, and see if it works. Which I think it did work.
I'm never gonna complain about anything my kids do. That's not true. But
whenever I think my life is completely out of control, I just look at them.
Yeah, that is.
It feels bad that I have to say that.
Whole other level.
But I'm just like, I only have 2.
Yeah.
How do you survive that?
Yeah, but that is
insane.
That's like
and that
calculated.
was just 3 of the kids, right? Absolutely.
That's not just your kids doing something dumb.
Glass
That's
on
like
the stairs to stop. They didn't think, because you can tell where the child logic comes in, where they're like, well, I wouldn't want to step on the glass, so I just wouldn't go down the stairs. Not, Dad's going to see the glass and wonder why,
and still
use
try to
his
get down the
grown-up
stairs.
brain and go down the stairs in boots or something. Like, they didn't think about that. But
God.
yeah, it was absolutely insane. Oh, I forgot, they also painted the dog blue. The dog, the dog is the nicest boxer. Like, she is such a sweetheart. Like, I'll say she dances with me because she sees me. She's a big dog and she puts her arms on you, but she hugs. So
right.
She'll hug me and then kind of rock back and forth.
So she's a nice dog that jumps on you.
She's the only dog I'm really happy about jumping on me, even though it hurts, because she's just so happy and she wants to hug.
Yeah, no, I get
it.
But
she just had puppies right before that happened. She
got knocked up.
There was this
and the puppies looked at her and went, but she's a purebred. She's blue.
Well, she was just separated from the puppies because it was part of their agreement to buy the dog, that the breeder would give them the dog, they would take care of her, she'd be used to breed, and something I don't fully agree with, but apparently it's a legit thing. So
dog breeding in general has always struck me as weird.
It's weird. I understand
doing it
both
professionally.
Sides. Oh, I understand both sides, but I can't fully agree with either side. It's weird.
Well, I have no problem with, people want puppies. Of course, granted, there are tons of dogs out there in kennels and
that's
strays that you could get. But I get the concept of, as a business, I'm going to sell a specific type of dogs because people want the specific type of dogs. I just don't understand the concept of people going, hey, so what do you do a living? You're like, I make dogs fuck.
Well, it's weird because I realize the people who just do that, at least in my experience with the animal shelter, they're crazy. The people who do that on top of having a job, if they're a farmer, or if they do trucking stuff, usually trucking stuff, but they all have a job and supplement it with dog breeding because it is,
right.
There's a time frame which you can do it.
There is
a finite amount. You don't want to be abusive. The people who use that as a specific job usually abuse the animals that they have, because they're trying to make a profit out of them.
Yeah, I've never thought of it that way. I'm just thinking
so they're rushed to try to breed these animals out.
Yeah, well, because if it's a certain quota
bill
you
comes
each month to pay your bills, yeah. Well,
exactly. Like if you get a hospital bill, he's like, well, Mr. Chihuahua, you gotta fuck all these other ones. Like you just gotta
fucking.
And I can only, and the female animals just get so mistreated. They put on some
oh god, Marvin Gaye.
just
put some rose petals out.
Here's some doggy Viagra, and here you go. Get the fuck.
There you go.
It's
just
terrible.
Mash it up and put it in some applesauce and peanut butter.
It's
instant dog boner.
So but again, there are some people who are legit and don't force it, and apparently this guy is the type of person who doesn't force it, but they make it part of the deal. Hey, you want this dog? You don't pay, but when it's time to breed, when the dog breeds, and then we spay or neuter the dog, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel weird about it, but I also know I have a bias. But regardless, so the dog's blue. Luckily, the puppies weren't there because I'm quite sure they would.
You can't breed that shit.
They would look like Skittles right now. And I was just
puppies.
I was just
Skittle puppies.
I was terrified when I heard that, and I'm so happy they were able to wash the dye out of the dog. And these boys, these boys are so. I'm sorry.
Things would have been broken in my house because that's that's the only way I know how to express my anger. I have to get it out somehow, so I just break something.
See, that's lucky. I just shut down. But like these
Oh
boys
no,
are
I'm very external with my anger, but it usually
these
just goes into destroying something.
these
Hopefully
boys are
something
super
not necessary.
creative. Oh, these boys are super creative and super dumb simultaneously, which I think most little
That's most
boys
boys.
are.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say. I
Because
agree.
I know I had a problem with playing with fire. I'm stupid. Like my childhood self was stupid, but I was very creative. And my
Yeah.
dad made the mistake of trying to scare me by saying, because I used to cover up the smell of fire, of smoke with Lysol. And he was like,
Oh,
you
okay.
shouldn't do that because if you
This is
use
flammable.
Lysol and a lighter, you create a flamethrower. He showed that to me.
Oh no.
And to this day, I sometimes stop, as much as I love my dad, I'll stop and just stare at him and go, you dumb, dumb man. You
Oh, I
dumb, dumb man. Still to this day, the feeling I got when I saw him do that for the first time was, wow, that is cool. That hasn't changed. I'm a grown
Well,
ass man.
I
And
mean,
now I fear
it's
that
a
my son
handheld
is going to be the
flamethrower.
same. Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
feel my
fucking
son's going to
awesome.
find that out as well.
There's
Like,
nothing
oh,
not fucking awesome about a handheld flamethrower. I mean, like, Jesus, anything like that. I mean, I don't know. When I was a little boy, it was just the way it was. Like that's what
yeah.
boys did. They did weird, crazy, fucked up shit all the time. But I mean, even today, like I don't have a gun. I don't like guns, but when I think about them, like it's pretty fucking cool.
You
Like
know,
look
it's
at that
funny.
fucking thing.
Being a former service member, I've realized that I think guns are super cool until I have to fire them.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a whole
Like I
different
can't fetishize
aspect of.
guns.
No. I mean,
Oh,
it's a whole different aspect. I mean, firing it is a whole different thing, and then firing it at something is a whole nother level beyond that, right?
oh, I don't give a shit about that. I'm talking about the cleanup.
Oh.
There's like one. If I'm not ready for the recoil, I look like a little bitch, and I don't like that. And then sometimes my hands get tired because I have arthritis. or if I fire a shotgun, it hurts my shoulder. My shoulder hurts. I don't need that.
The mean gun hurt my shoulder.
And then when we're done on the range, we have to clean up all the brass.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't want
irritating.
to do that. I'm
Well, I mean,
sweaty.
that's
I just fire guns all day. I smell like
well.
I
I mean,
smell
where
like.
we live, you could just go out in your backyard and shoot a gun off a few times. Probably not
I think I'm
have anybody
traumatized.
care.
I have to clean brass.
It's
Like,
just ingrained
it's
into
ingrained in me.
your personality. You just have
I
to do it.
cannot help it. Just like if my son's holding his Nerf gun, I constantly tell him how to properly hold it. I can't help it. He's tiny. He's smaller than the Nerf gun, and I keep
You were taught to
correcting
do that. I mean,
him,
that's
and I just can't help it.
yeah. That's human behavior. You're taught to do something, and you are going to continue to repeat it until somebody comes
Somehow
in and
breaks it, or
breaks the cycle and teaches you to do otherwise or something along those lines. That's just the way it is. I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
to quickly finish up before we continue on, just the boys are so creative in how terrible they can be.
It's a bad
And
combination.
it's such a bad combination. Like they literally push the notion of unconditional love.
I could see that. I mean, I'm just you telling
they
that
just
story
push
is
it, and that's just one. Throughout the time we record these, I will have more. I guarantee I will have more, unless I get a gag order from my wife. I will have more.
It certainly puts things in perspective for me. The other day, my mother stopped by and she brought McDonald's shakes over, and she got herself a strawberry one. And she got myself and both my kids vanilla, and my son decided he wanted the strawberry one and was not happy. And I don't know if he intentionally smacked it or was trying to get the strawberry, but he knocked his on the floor and spilled shake everywhere. And I was, of course, I'm not even going to bother trying to say the word. I was more mad than I should be. And I was just like, fucking goddamn shake all over the floor, cleaning it up. But that puts things in perspective. I just had to clean a shake off the floor.
Yeah.
I was scrubbing
You're not
food coloring
scrubbing
out of
on
wood or trying to take my boiler apart or stepping on broken glass as I go down the steps into the basement. Ugh.
Yeah, nope. Once she told me that, like I stayed mad for a few days. I was mad for a few days at those kids that aren't mine. I was just like,
yeah,
no, I can't see them.
They're not yours, but they're relatives. You know them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've known them all their life.
Yeah, so it's fair. You're allowed to be mad at them.
But I'm just
going back to you talking about cleaning out the house. Though my mom's still in the house I grew up in,
Okay.
And she's been doing that lately too. She's been trying to, because she keeps, you know what I think it was when my grandfather died and my grandmother moved into they owned a couple properties. I mean, there's all these stories of my grandfather incurring like ridiculous amount of debt that we think was gambling. So they lost most of them, which is great. But anyway, she had to clean out her parents' house, and just it was like terrible. Like she just had such a hard time. There's so much stuff, everything everywhere. So she's been slowly starting to try to clean her house out. Couldn't she says to me, you know, I don't want you to have to do that and go through all this crap in the house. And so every once in a while she'll bring some stuff over to me from, you know, something I had when I was a kid. And it's the same thing. Like I get all nostalgic and I'm looking through it. And every once in a while she brings over garbage and I'm just trying to figure out why she even bothered. She brought over a whole bunch of VHS tapes not that long ago and photos. I was going through photos and she had all these VHS tapes. And I thought about it. I was thinking, man, I really should I should try to get them converted, you know, or something like that. And she's like, you know, I think I have the machine at home to move them to a DVD. And I started thinking about it, and I realized that there's probably a bunch of my VHS tapes mixed in there. And there's got to be some porn in there somewhere. I was like, please don't. Maybe I should do it.
I saw a VHS because my uncle used to bootleg cable. Because I guess he had that box back in the day when cable was king.
Yeah, I had
the black box. Yep. And so he would bootleg it and then record everything. So he had a literal library in his apartment full of VHSs. And then he had the VHSs under his bed.
Right.
And I would be he would babysit me, so, you know, I'd be there all day. And sometimes he'd smoke like his 20th cigarette and have to go get more. And I would be watching movies, and I saw the ones under the bed. I was like, I haven't seen these.
Ooh,
I remember one distinctly, because he wrote it in handwriting. He had the greatest handwriting, by the way. But it was like Oriental Express. Now, when I think back, I go, wow, that's offensive. But
very. But in the early 90s, it wasn't.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, put it in, just fucking, just so
lots
much,
of fucking.
So much.
I had one of those black. We had one. Our family had one of the black boxes, and then when I was like 13 or 14 years old, I can't remember exactly how old. A kid I went to high school with, his uncle sold them or something along those lines, and I bought one from him. I remember I was working my teenage job. I worked in a music store, and I worked in a music store repairing instruments when I was 13, 14 years old.
Like an alto music style?
Yeah, same type of deal. It was one of those small shops where I don't think they exist anymore because I think they've all been kind of morphed into one big one, like we have Alto local to our area in the Hudson Valley. Yeah. But it was, you know, one of those small shops where they sold musical instruments for the school kids and stuff like that, and they'd bring them in to get repaired. And then in the summer, the schools that they owned, you know, a whole bunch of different instruments right for the school itself, they would send them all in to get cleaned up and repaired. Anyway, but I remember the kid stopping there outside and me going out and getting the box from him and then bringing it home and hooking it up and hiding it in my room so nobody knew I had it. And I just thought I just wanted it to have it. I thought it was awesome. It's like, oh, I got this awesome kit, just like I am now. I want all these cool bullshit things that are out there. I just wanted to have that awesome, cool thing that allowed me to watch any channel I wanted, anytime I wanted.
See, that would have been really cool, but instead, when I saw it on packing day, I saw it and it said American Psycho, I think 98, and I just flashed back to it because I remember that tape specifically. My uncle accidentally recorded over. So he recorded American Psycho, but if you continue through the credits, porn is right after it.
Got the porn at the end.
And it's like...
So your uncle like really just was stockpiling 90s
10 minutes of porn. He was stockpiling any kind of media. Any movie.
Yeah, but
porn or non-porn, he was recording and stockpiling.
If we're talking about that era porn, though, that was on cable, it was like the most softcore bullshit ever. And, I mean,
but
actually
for
at the time...
For a preteen boy in the 90s?
Preteen,
Back in the day, we used to watch scrambled porn.
Oh yeah, no,
Where it
no,
was
no.
like, oh man, that's an arm. That might be a
It
nipple.
was a different
like,
story then. I mean, when we were kids, like porn was just like this thing that was, I don't know, this nebulous thing that you tried to find somewhere.
And among
if
other
you
little
could.
kids, you would just blow it up to a bigger proportion.
Yeah,
It was just bigger than it needed to be.
Yeah, and then it's crazy. And then nowadays, I mean, I would assume any preteen kid can go on the internet and find like a woman fucking a horse if you wanted to, like anything. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
The amount of access is absolutely insane.
Well, the access is insane, and the spread of types and different things that are out there now is crazy. I mean, there's stuff that not to kink shame at all. Anybody that likes certain things, go for it. That's you. But the fact that it's all available for any child to get a hold of at any age, it's kind of fucking nuts when you think about it. It's just crazy how hard it was for us.
It's not even kind of nuts.
It
is nuts. It's absolutely insane.
But Jesus, for us at that age, to be watching scrambled porn on a TV, it's like green and wavy and trying to make out a boob. And now you can see whatever the fuck you want. Just go online, type in a URL, and you're there. But anyway, I guess
we're in that age. We're all jaded now.
We're so jaded. Everybody's jaded, desensitized to everything nowadays. And I don't know if it's bad or good. I don't know anymore.
I'll mention it like this. If twerking was a thing, like a famous thing, back when we were teenagers, it would have been awesome. To us, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's because the internet wasn't really a thing.
This is true.
Yeah. Oh, your dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit out some dog barking that I've heard in the background. It's just great. You know, she loves to bark, but she especially loves to bark when I fucking don't want her to.
Of course. Which is all the time. But I feel that the fact that it's so prevalent everywhere, everyone's doing it, still to this day. And mind you, I am very mad that Miley Cyrus made it popular because she wasn't even like I feel like she did it ironically.
How long ago did that start?
I was in Afghanistan when it started.
Jesus, that long ago?
I was in the sandbox when it started.
That's crazy.
I knew twerking was a thing for a while, but that's only because I, have like Rastafarian, like Caribbean friends from the island. So that was just always a thing. I thought it was kind of dumb because all you're doing is shaking your butt, but whatever. That's to whom, whatever you like is whatever you like.
Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
But then Miley Cyrus apparently made it super popular in the United States. And I remember sitting there. I didn't
even realize that was the case.
The world ended right then and there. Because I think around that time, we also had the government shutdown.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting in Afghanistan. The guys are like showing YouTube videos because, that's what soldiers do among each other on the FOB. And we're just like, I don't get it. Well, I was like, I don't get it. There was a few of us that didn't get it, but other ones were like, Miley Cyrus is sexy. And when she just turned like 19, or she just became an adult, or something like that.
I have never thought that Miley Cyrus was sexy in my life. Just not my type of woman.
It's funny with Miley Cyrus. I hated her. I actually feel like this about a lot of bubblegum singers. I hated them, seething hatred, and then out of nowhere, I just have an epiphany. Going, hey, you know what? They're not that bad. Well, it's all of them, every single one of them.
I used to feel that way when I was, in my like late teens, early 20s about certain types of music. I'd feel like, I was into like really prog rock and stuff, and all this really complicated.
You seem like a grunge guy to me.
I was grunge was when I was Nirvana years 94, 95 I was totally into grunge. I loved grunge. I had my guitar and I tried to play Nirvana songs all the time. But as I started getting into like prog rock and even anything remotely considered progressive that was just a little more musically complicated, I started to get really smarmy about anything that wasn't pop music and punk music.
Pop
They're just playing garbage. 3 chords over and over. How that's not music. That's awful bullshit. And then I slowly started to realize that it doesn't. If it sounds good, it sounds good. But yeah, I was definitely a music idealist. But I got to the same point. I was just realized, you know what? Anything can be for anybody, and who am I to judge what one person likes versus what I like?
Oh, I've never judged anybody on stuff like that. I did. Weird because
when I was young and stupid. which is
what was
fucking
weird,
forever ago now.
Yeah, it was weird because among my friends, I was the first to lose my virginity. So I felt like I just kind of had like a weird mind about it.
How
But
so?
I also, because they would ask me stuff and it would start to inflate my
really?
ego.
Oh, I get it.
But I also wasn't a cool
You also
kid.
didn't know what the fuck you were doing, too,
Yeah,
really.
I wasn't a cool kid at all. So it made me feel like almost like a weird pseudo sage.
Yeah, well,
Where I would give advice, but it was mostly like emotional advice. And I can only remember being
so funny to
just
think about.
care about the person you're with.
I'm talking about the sex aspect of it. It's just so funny, like, dude who just got laid for the first time, like, so like, what are you supposed to do? It's like, I don't fucking know.
No, absolutely. I was like, they I swear to God, they would ask me like, how did it feel? And the first day I would go, it was just so warm. that was it. Just so warm. Like I just felt like in a good, like, you know that moment when you wrap yourself up in a blanket and it's cold, like the air conditioner's
the
on,
best
so
feeling,
everything's
too.
cold outside and you're cocooned in like your favorite blanket, and that moment that right before you go to sleep, just everything is warm.
Oh, yeah.
And
Dude,
that feeling,
like
that was the feeling I likened it to.
About a week ago, I just hadn't slept in several days because I don't sleep at night. I can't sleep. I don't know what it is, insomnia or what. And I was so tired, and it was cold in the house from the AC, and I wrapped myself up in the blanket, and I knew,
it's so good.
Nothing better. All right, maybe
All right.
we should start.
Yeah, whoever's listening is like, what the fuck? These
like
guys have not gone on topic.
35. Yeah, we're at 35
Let's
minutes.
cut a lot of that out.
We're not
it was
cutting
therapy.
it out.
God damn it.
It's good stuff. I'm not playing the topic music anymore because it's fucking stupid. We're just gonna bounce right into our topic this podcast, which is Litterbugs. We're gonna talk about Litterbugs because they fucking suck, and how much I despise people who are so fucking lazy. They feel the need to throw anything, a gum wrapper, a chip wrapper, a coffee cup, on the ground, out their window, whatever it fucking may be, for no reason. I mean, I genuinely can't understand the point of, okay, I'm driving down the road, I'm just going to throw this empty Dunkin' Donuts cup out the window, instead of leaving it in my car and literally just taking it out when I get home and putting it in the fucking garbage can. I do not understand it.
I mean, that doesn't just go with littering. These people who do that are the same type of people who fucking leave toilet paper in the toilet seat, like inside the toilet. Leave the shopping cart to roll across the fucking lane to hit a parked car. Like, the same type of people.
It's definitely a collection of things that type of person does. And you're right. Oh my God, the shopping cart thing, that drives me nuts too. You know what? Always cracks me up when there's like a group of shopping carts somewhere out in the middle of the parking lot, and it's like the people saw the little group there and were like, "Well, I'm doing kind of the right thing. At least I'm putting it next to other
put it on
carts.
the thing so they're herded. We herded them.
They're all herded together, so they don't have to walk around as much. I mean, they're good. They're not lined up or in any sort of order. They're just kind of a big fucking cluster of fucking park. Oh, you fucking lazy assholes."
I had a moment no, this counts as littering to me. I don't give a fuck. This counts as littering to me. The shopping cart thing. I work in, I think I've mentioned it before. I'm a vendor. I drive around to different stores. I set up displays and stuff like that. I am driving. I'm getting ready to leave the store. I had just worked all day and I have an hour before I have to go home. I have an hour drive to head home.
Right.
And somebody leaves a cart and is slowly rolling towards another cart, and is catching speed. So I turn into a parking space and park like an asshole, jump out of this car.
To stop it?
And to stop the cart.
That's how you know you're a good fucking person.
And so I do that. Mind you, I'm cussing the whole time. I stop the cart, and I put the cart back, and I look back, and somebody who's getting ready to park saw my parking job and started talking shit about how fucked up and how much of an asshole I am for parking the way I did.
Were you around a lot of other cars, or were you just kind of off to the side?
It was weird because I didn't have a lot of time before the cart hit the other car. And I vaguely believe in karma. So it was like two parking spaces that weren't near each other, but there was a car and there was a cart, the cart rack.
Oh, because
so
I could totally...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Finish.
My back wheel was in the other parking spot, and my front side was inside the space.
Dude, I could totally see you parking like 30 feet away from any other car, and that fucking asshole just deciding to park back there next to you just so he could fucking complain.
I'll be honest, I do
shitty.
not park a mile away. I hate doing that. My in-laws do it, and it's obnoxious to me.
Oh, I agree.
My car is so perfect. No,
well,
I get
my mother,
it. I get
my
why
mother
people
used
do
to
it, but I don't do it.
Yeah, my mother, like whenever she'd get a new car, she would do it because, and I get it, like especially like for my mother, she works really, really hard for her money.
Yeah.
And to buy a new car, it's a point of pride. So she wants to keep it as pristine. I'm the same way though. Like the way I looked at it was, it's gonna get fucked up. It's just gonna happen. Yeah. So I might as well not inconvenience myself.
It takes one deer to fuck up your whole car.
It's not even one deer. It's just one asshole in a parking lot that walks by with the zipper on his coat and scratches the side of my car.
Or my favorite, leaves their fucking cart out in the middle of the lane to hit your car.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so I did it because I vaguely believe in karma. I heard these people talking shit about my parking job, which I didn't have much time, so I had a reason, but fuck it, right? And I'm sitting there driving home just like, fuck. This is fun. Of course, I decide to do the right thing and still get shit on.
You get shit on. All right, what about the other side of the argument? The people that do it and go, well, I mean, someone's got to collect them anyway. That's giving someone a job.
Okay, one, that someone is you. That someone is you. Even if it's not your job, that someone is you.
Still your
personal responsibility, bitch. Dude. Two, that person does have a job. They're usually a cashier that gets called to fucking do carts in the fucking rain.
Go outside in the rain in the 30-degree weather to collect carts.
How do I know that? Because when I worked in Sam's Club, I was that guy.
See, when I worked at Media Play, we had carts, but I don't remember anyone ever going to collect them. It's like we just left them out there.
No, still to this day, if there's carts there, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
like AC Moore or whatever's there, they don't care.
Well, I mean, some of it might be self-sustaining, right? Because they leave them in the parking lot, and then the next asshole picks it up and brings it in.
I mean, when you worked at Media Play, weren't the carts metal? So if they would just rust out, or did you have plastic?
They were plastic carts. They were shitty plastic carts, and we never had a lot. Like we never had more than 10. It wasn't like there was 100 carts like a supermarket, grocery store, or something would have. So I feel like most of the time they just kind of stayed outside until we realized there was zero in the store, and then somebody would go out and try to pull them together. But it was never me. But either way, like even when I go to the grocery store, I either put it in the fucking little lane thing that they have to line them up, or if they don't have them, I bring it back into the store. And I'm not, I do lots of stupid, bad, shitty habit things, but that's one of the things I think's fucked up.
You drew the line at that point.
I bring it back into the fucking store if I can, because I think of it exactly what you said. Somebody standing out there in 20-degree weather, raining, trying to collect those fucking carts, or it's 100 degrees out and they're out there collecting carts in the sun. I guess we're talking about people who leave carts in the parking lot and not litterbugs.
Yeah, but again, no, we are going to talk about litterbugs because it's going to escalate to that in a second. But no, the same person that says, "Well, I'll give them the job," to not get paid well enough, and then you're going to fight against the minimum wage being lifted.
Oh, absolutely! You know it's the same fucking dickheads doing that.
And it's like, well, they must have made mistakes to have to do those jobs. Motherfucker, somebody always has to do jobs. Yeah. No matter how well they do, no matter how bad they do. If we didn't pay one person to say I am the leader and then pay them the wage of that one, the cart guy, 1,000,000 times over to that one person, we'd have enough for that cart guy to do that job happily without you being an asshole about it. Yeah, they'd be outside like a fucking maitre d', just waiting for you to bring it up. And well, thank you, sir. I have to bring it back now. Like,
oh boy, yeah,
they'd be right there waiting.
It's fucking ridiculous. Well, your point is just the perfect point because, like you said, do you want to fucking do it? No. So shouldn't when you think about it, shouldn't pay scale be representative of how much you don't want to do the job when it really comes down to it? Like, shouldn't the shittiest...
America's never worked that way. Are you serious?
Shouldn't that be how it should be? Like, the jobs that nobody wants to do, shouldn't they get paid the most?
Okay, the way things should be, money shouldn't exist. But since we're not at that point, and we'll never be at that point, we, like, yes, I will concede that, yes, that's how it should be if we're going to deal with money.
Like, I mean...
If you don't want to do the job, maybe you should get paid a little bit more.
Let's say somebody
at
came
least a
into.
reasonable wage where you
I
can
mean,
go to a hospital and you can miss a week of work and still be able to pay your bills
yeah.
and
Well,
eat.
this happened to Media Play a million times. Shit cran, man. People just spreading shit all over the place on the
Oh my
wall, writing
God.
shit with their shit. I don't know how somebody actually writes on the wall with their own feces, but it happened multiple times. Leaving shit laying all over the place. I would pay any amount of money to not have to clean that up. If that was my bathroom, I would pay anybody any amount of money to come and clean that up so that I didn't have to do it. So that why wouldn't that person get paid? And it
I
was
have a
some
limit.
cashier making minimum wage that had to go in there and clean that shit up.
Yep.
Because we only had a janitor like in the mornings for a couple hours to kind of clean up each day before the store opened.
Yeah, people want to talk about the shitty attitudes of like workers in like Walmart and shit like that. I'm sorry. Have you been to a Walmart bathroom? If I'm not mistaken, they don't only just have a janitor who cleans that bathroom. They have associates that have to emergency clean that
Oh,
bathroom.
absolutely.
Because janitor's not there all the time. Let's not even mention that the janitors should get paid more too. But regardless, and have proper PPE. But like you go through training that talks about like fluid handling stuff. I'm getting a job at Walmart getting paid 12 something. You're telling me there's a chance I have to deal with human fluids?
Yes, yeah.
The fact that you have to use the word fluids to denote
Well, I mean,
other substances coming from a person that I have to deal with?
the bathroom at Media Play was, and I think it was mandated by law that they had to have a bathroom. I think just based on the size of the store, or something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about a cashier getting paid nothing. Like there was no training, and I don't even think there's proper equipment. It was like go into the janitor closet and see what you can find, and try to
Just
come and
bleach it.
clean the shit off of the wall and toilet and wherever else it
And
may
if it
have
dries,
ended up.
you have to like scrape.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh god, dude, awful. Oh, you know what? You know what one of my least favorite types of litter bugs are? People who flick fucking cigarettes out of their car window.
I get so pissed at those people.
Oh, I had somebody do it in front of me the other day, and I was giving them the finger through my windshield. I mean, they couldn't see me, but I was so angry because I saw. Every time I see somebody do that, I think about somebody might have a gas leak or something, and that lit cigarette, they drive over it, and their car just fucking goes up because one fucking dumb piece of shit asshole couldn't be bothered to use an ashtray
and
or
like
something.
your car already smells like shit. Just put it in the ashtray.
Well, and even like, I guess the thinking is I don't want to have an ashtray I have to clean out. Motherfucker, if you want to smoke, use the ashtray. Like, just fucking do it.
But those are the same people who bitch about not being able to smoke in buildings anymore. Like, I'm sorry, you're not responsible. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Because people who don't complain about that generally don't have that problem that I've known anecdotally, obviously.
Smoking is a good example though of how things can change, because I mean when we were kids and even way earlier than that, 60s, 70s, smoking was just ubiquitous and everybody seemed to do it. And now it's really stigmatized. I mean, it completely changed the attitude.
I have a conspiracy theory that it was some rich asshole who lobbies that probably has traumatic background with, their parents used to smoke and their daddy or mommy died. And so they had like a Batman-esque vengeance campaign against cigarettes where they couldn't necessarily take it down because it's too much of a revenue maker.
But they could fight it.
They could hobble it.
Yeah.
And you can see how stubborn people are because people still smoke today.
They do.
It's snowing outside, shivering.
Yeah.
But they just have to have it. You can say, well, that's addiction, but that's also stubbornness on top of that. Like, you inconveniencing yourself in one way to stop another inconvenience.
Yeah, there's definitely a combination of factors.
The levels that go on from there, because my mother struggled with smoking cigarettes. My dad stopped cold turkey. My mom struggled for at least 2 years.
My dad smoked for quite some time. I don't think he gave up a cold turkey, but he stopped. My stepmother still smokes. Both my brothers, I think, smoke at this point.
I definitely believe at least the brother I know smokes every chance he gets.
Yeah, I mean, but even if it was some Batman-esque dude who was like, I'm going to put all my money behind this, at least it changed. Like there was
that's what I'm saying.
Culture changer behind it.
I feel like you need somebody like that.
Yeah.
For anything to fucking move in this country.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
sometimes it takes one person with the right idea rather
and
than
right,
a
the
million
right
people
capital.
trying to get it done and the right cap. Well, I mean, everything's gonna take the right capital. Oh, but
Yeah,
boy, do I
true,
hate
very
those
true.
folks that throw the cigarette.
But speaking of another type of litter bug, this is my favorite. Oh, favorite in the opposite direction. Um, the bubblegum litter bug. They'll just stick their gum under anything. They'll stick their gum on something. They'll
That's a
just
whole nother level of gross too.
like remember in school, and I know there's mostly other kids, but you find this in office spaces too. Like
Yeah,
a piece of gum that's just dried to the point of being a mineral
yeah.
in a windowsill.
Oh,
Not even
everywhere.
under a desk, but in a windowsill.
Oh, you can find them everywhere. You find them on the floor, like in a corner somewhere, in the
Yeah, just
bathroom, on the sink, everywhere.
I had one person they stuck gum under like the lip of a bench, not even under the bench, the lip where your butt would sit. And so my fat ass sits down on it, and the bottom of my pants catches it, and
Oh, I've had that
it's
happen.
like 90 degrees,
I've had that happen.
so it
Yes,
just melts right off onto the back of my leg, and I feel something like, what the fuck is that? But it's not on my leg.
I was
So
wearing
I'm
pants.
okay, whatever. Yeah, I was. Oh, okay. So you didn't even notice.
Yeah, it got on
I'm
my
assuming.
pants, but same thing. And I
And you
can't
smell
tell you how
that
many
like
times
hint
I've
of
stepped
mint.
in
You
it.
don't know what it is.
Yup, just a tiny hint of mint, and you're
Yeah,
like,
just the fuck
I'm
is
not
that?
chewing gum. I've stepped and had my shoes ruined
Yep.
because you can't get it out. Like if you've got the type of tread, like I like the waffle treads,
Mm.
and they're just cracks. I mean, once it's in there, there's just you can't get it out. The shoes are ruined.
The grossest one, I'm gonna probably back up from my microphone. I'm gonna react to it. Is the grossest moment I had was dealing with the litter bug in a park. Somebody put a gum on the side, and it was covered in fucking ants.
Ooh, like
And
a
you know
whole
that
like
you know what the
swarm.
ball of ants look like that
Yeah.
gross, like moving massive black.
Yup. Oh
And grown man me sitting there going, ah, oh shit, oh, like freaked.
I can see
I just
that,
peeked
though.
out, but I freaked out because I touched it and I felt them just like move and the stickiness of the gum, and I was like, I lost my shit.
I did a grown man freak out like that the other day. I went to move my garbage cans down the curb, and there was a little snake underneath one of them. I did the same thing.
It was just so bad.
I instantly felt like the biggest piece of crap in the world.
There's that. There's
It was
people who
so
leave their
tiny too. It was a little tiny itty bitty snake. It was maybe a baby.
It was a
snake.
gardener, like probably a little gardener.
Probably a garter snake or garden snake, whatever the fuck.
Well, the thing is, we're taught snakes are scary, which
Yes.
reasonably so. So as soon as you see the shape and it moves,
Yeah,
your body's
instantly.
gonna react.
There's in my like the lower part of my yard that's kind of like not really landscaped or anything. There's quite a few. I've gone down there with the mower and just found snake guts flying out.
Oh,
But there's a
felt
rock
bad.
down there. There's that's in a specific spot, and there's a snake that lives under it. And every time I go to weed whack around it, he kind of pokes his little head out. I'm like, I'm almost done. I'm getting leave me
It's
alone.
okay. I'll get out of your way, bud.
Like, just leave me alone. He sticks his little head out and sticks his tongue out at me. Like, the fuck away from my house. I moved myself away. I remember very vividly, like it was like I was 3 or something. It wasn't that long. It was probably like 15 years ago, something like that. I had a boss that I was driving with. I loved this dude. Everybody hated him. Everybody in the company hated him. They fucking hated him. He was so nice to me. He just always treated me awesome. And like I got along great with him. Everybody else fucking hated him. But he'd like random times during the day, he'd be like, "Hey, want to go get some coffee?" We'd just take a ride, get some coffee, and we'd be out, get the coffee, and be say, "Nah, I gotta stop and look at shoes. Let's go get some shoes." We'd go. I love the dude. But anyway, I vividly remember one time we stopped and got coffee, and he like took a couple sips or something of the coffee, and I don't remember what was wrong with it. They didn't do it right or something, and he literally just threw the whole cup out the window. The whole full cup of coffee, styrofoam cup, out the window.
I'm glad you're the only person who likes him because I fucking hate this guy right now.
I just looked at him and I'm thinking, what the fuck was that? Why? Why?
Do you have an emotional disorder? Like, what the fuck?
Yes. Why would you do that?
Like,
I don't know. I mean, my car, I just like the garbage just accumulates in my car, little bits, like not a lot while I'm out. And then I get out of the car, the garbage can's right there. I get out, pull everything out, throw it in the garbage can.
I do have a bad habit of accumulating garbage in my car, but I don't. I throw it out. I don't
Yeah.
just throw it out of
Yeah,
my
but
car.
it's accumulating in your car, not on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, I guess people don't think this abstractly, but even just like the beautification of your area, you know,
Yeah.
to have it look nice and not have trash all over the fucking side of the road. There's been a couple times I've been going down Route 6 by us, and I see somebody out there actually picking up the garbage, putting it in bags, and I always want to roll down the window and say thanks, but then I realize it's probably like a community service
like you
program
have to
or
do
something.
that.
Yeah, they probably were forced to do it. I doubt they're out there doing it out of the goodness of their heart. I mean, even so, though, I mean, if they're being forced to do it for community service, you know, as reparations for doing something bad, or something like that. Is that the right word to use? Probably shouldn't use the word reparations.
I mean,
probably not the right word.
I mean,
As
it's like reparations is basically just a big word for here's apology something like
I know, but
prize.
it's probably
So
not
I
the
don't
right
think
to use
that's the word. And yeah, I'm not looking up the definition. Fuck you. I don't care.
But anyway,
that's the way it's being used. But
I could still roll down the window and say
Yeah.
thank you. I mean, they're still doing
back to your point in the coffee though. God. So again, the job I work with as a vendor is myself a vendor and an associate of the store. We're all talking, and mind you, I have to do a survey of an area in the store. So as I'm doing the survey, I've noticed not one, not two, but three various coffee cups sitting in the area. I'm supposed to clean certain areas, but if it's right outside, I'm not fucking touching it. And one of my lines is if it's a cup full of something biodegradable, I just can't bring myself to touch it. Like if a child eats candy and they put it down, it sticks to the I just can't do it.
No, I don't blame you. I wouldn't either.
And
that's
there was
a good
cup
point, though. Continue.
Yeah, sorry. No,
cups are a good point. No, you're right. People do that constantly. They just leave their cups laying around.
Go in a grocery store and count how many you can find. The cup was of, I'm assuming coffee, but it was foam. It was foamy. It wasn't new. It was foamy, and I was like, "How long has this been sitting?" Oh, it was off brown. It wasn't even like brown anymore. It was like off. I was like, "How long was this sitting here?" And she goes, "It's been here for like 3 days. Nobody wants to touch it. Nobody wants to touch it. They're understaffed at the store. I'm not going to touch it because it's been there for that long."
Yeah.
And I'm pissed off. And the other vendor from whatever other company she works for kind of jokes about it. And it's like, no, that's our hard limits, because that's disgusting. It's really disgusting and inconsiderate when people do that, because it's the same. And I liken it to the same people that believe wholeheartedly in the customer is always right. They feel entitled, so they just don't give a shit. Like somebody
100%.
else will clean it, like you said earlier.
100%.
Somebody else will fucking clean it, and they just do it. They do it. You know what? They don't even think about that. They don't go that far to be considerate of another person doing it.
It does not even go through their mind. They just set it down. It's like a subconscious thing. They feel that they're entitled to do it.
For those who forget, fine. They get in their car. They go, "Oh shit, I left my drink." Get your ass back in a parking spot and go back in the store.
No, agreed. That's if you forget, you're not doing it on purpose. That's a different story.
Lean into it until I think just park and go get it, because I'm sure you noticed when you got into your car.
I would. I absolutely would. Yeah.
But anyway, so they, where she makes a joke, we kind of try to laugh it off because it sucks. It's upsetting. It's genuinely upsetting. And
it's such a small thing, but it's so demonstrative of the way people are.
Yeah.
It really
so
is.
We're at one side of the store. I won't say that we're not speaking super loud. We're not yelling because we're right next to each other. I guess maybe the loudest part was us laughing, because I'm still doing my survey while we're doing this. A woman, 2.5 aisles away, peeks her head out and just stares at us.
I can see her face.
And I'm just looking at this woman, I would just let anyone imagine what she looks like, because I'm sure you're right, no matter what your imagination is. Looks as well. I go, "Ma'am,
I see a white woman Karen haircut."
I say, "Oh, ma'am, do you need help with anything?" Don't drop a beat when I notice she's looking at us, because people tend, instead of saying "excuse me," because usually people who do that are generally rude. Okay, that's a lie. That is a lie. I have met a lot of nice people who come up and say, "Excuse me,"
Yeah,
because I wear plain clothes. Yeah,
I actually say,
wear plain clothes.
I always say, I'm sorry to bother you. That's the way I put it.
Okay, well, either one, those are fine.
Yeah.
But she's just staring. A lot of people just do that. Because I
I've
guess
done
they're
that too.
trying to guess if they're like if you work there or not before they say something, which that shows a lot of insight that I'm probably giving them.
Yeah, especially when your situation, that makes sense. They're trying to
Yeah,
figure out.
me and the vendor, we wear plain clothes. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
We try to wear the opposite color of whatever that store has, and so and never black because if you wear black anywhere you go, you work there.
Sometimes it's fun to just wear a red polo into Staples or a blue polo into Best Buy and go in and wait for somebody to come up and ask you a question and be like, I don't fucking know.
I wore a blue polo because I worked in Best Buy. I wore a blue polo to Target and had a guy get mad at me that I didn't work at Target because I was wearing a blue polo. So it doesn't matter the color; it's a fucking polo.
You should just be like, I don't fucking know. And then, excuse me.
I was on my lunch break. I was getting lunch at Target.
I'm busy.
But anyway, back to the original. So she's staring at us, and I say, "Yeah, ma'am. Do you need help with anything?" She was, "It's just inappropriate for you guys to be talking about that in the store."
Why?
And I'm looking at her because I'm starting to get hot, and I want to say something back, but it's probably against my best interest to say something back.
See,
the associate did not give a shit because she's been working there for years. And they keep short staffing her. And the other vendor spoke up and was like, "Well, if you're not one of the people who did this, you shouldn't have to worry about it."
That's very true.
She said it straight out, and I looked at her and went,
"Yeah, we're complaining about the people that do this shit. If you don't do this shit, what's your fucking problem?"
And again, you were listening in on us, and if you got offended, I'm sure you did it and you felt bad and you had to redirect it.
She probably had just left 2 hours over.
Oh, I believe it wholeheartedly.
You know what? They fuck it up for the rest of us too. So my daughter goes to gymnastics local, and a few months, it was quite a while ago, a few months back, it was not long after they reopened after COVID. We went in for a lesson, and I had just picked up a coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, and I walked in with it, and the gentleman that one of the owners, he came up to me and he said, "Hey, you're not allowed to have that coffee in here." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that." He said, "Yeah, well, people leave them laying all over the place, and we end up having to pick them up, so we just have to say no." I'm like, "You motherfuckers ruined coffee for me. I can't bring my fucking coffee in here while I'm watching my daughter do gymnastics now because you stupid lazy assholes couldn't be bothered to put them in the garbage cans that are in the fucking facility. All you have to do is pick it up and put it in the garbage can by the exit. You couldn't fucking do that, and now none of us can have coffee."
And I'm going to say it like this. These are the same people. I know this is going to become a trope or a meme at some point if we keep doing this. These are the same people that feel like their opinions really fucking matter when they tweet on fucking Twitter.
Oh, of course.
The same fucking people.
I'm pretty sure that's everybody that tweets on Twitter.
like there's a thing that my parents, my parents didn't say it directly like this, but it's the way I translated it, is if I can't trust you to wipe your ass correctly, how can I trust you when you give me an opinion on something?
That's true.
Like, you can't clean up behind yourself. Why the fuck do you think your opinion's right?
I mean, when it boils down to it, it took me a while to realize this, which is embarrassing, but you're never going to change someone's mind on the internet.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
It's just not going to happen.
Not. I've known that for years. It's still frustrating, but I've known that for years.
So our buddy Shale has a song. I don't remember which song of his, but the lyrics are arguing on the internet. It's arguing on the internet. That's the name of the song.
I love that song.
You know the lyrics? even when you win, you lose. That's one of the lyrics. Is even
it's been a while since I've. Oh my god, it's been a while.
And one of the lyrics is it's like running in a wheelchair. It's like running in a wheelchair race. Even if you win, you're still. And it's the R word, which I'm not going to say, which doesn't actually make sense because that's not. It's somebody that's in a wheelchair or disabled.
There's like 3 degrees of separation. Where he was going with that.
No, I get it. His lyrics are always very good, very well written. But the point is, like even if you win the argument, you're still a loser. You're still a loser.
Like
when it comes down to it,
I'll put an opinion out on the internet once in a while, and it's usually benign.
Dude, I got real bad for a while in some of the local groups. I really
Why would you
did.
do? Yeah, you know what? I do remember hearing about you.
I did. I got really bad some of the local groups for a while because it was just so infuriating that it was trolls. That's really what it was. It wasn't even. I mean, it was a mix. There's definitely a lot of people that just had just fucking stupid opinions, and I'm not even talking about necessarily like politically divisive opinions. I'm talking about
just anything.
just straight. You're fucking dumb, dude. Like you're just dumb.
It's the same. Batman can be Superman.
Yeah, like
How?
just
because
stupid,
he's Batman.
Does not.
There's
make
no
sense.
logic behind that.
Right.
You're just saying what you want.
Really ridiculous. And there's a healthy mix in our local Facebook groups, which I assume is probably ubiquitous everywhere.
Well, you're on a Facebook group, so
people who actually are just stupid, and then the trolls. But oh man, I got really bad into it some of the time until I realized, I just thought to myself, why? Like, why am I even bothering? Like, why am I reading? Why am I bothering to even think about it and letting it occupy any of my brain space to be angry about? I have enough things to be angry about.
Oh,
like
yeah.
people who throw fucking coffee cups on shelves in stores.
I feel like people who generally, like, I'll say constantly post on the internet just whatever idea pops in their head is literally littering on the internet. Like, to tie it back in. It really is.
That's a good good way to put it.
No real thought, all feelings.
Twitter litter.
Yeah, well, because you'll say something or post something really stupid. TikTok is real big about this because they just do it. They'll put something out there, say the dumbest thing, and say it with such confidence, and it just sticks in the brains of other people who see it, and either upset them or make them think very stupidly. I'm not going to call them morons because not necessarily they are morons, but being susceptible to suggestion, they might be. But being susceptible to suggestion does not denote intelligence. It denotes influence and maturity. So, like, dealing with, like, for instance, somebody will say some crap about defending Amber Heard.
Right.
And even despite the evidence, despite any of that, I don't care what your opinion is on it, but clearly there is something wrong when you hear evidence of what she did as well.
Sure.
And there are people like, no, he did this, and despite that, nobody believes her because she's a woman, or they'll say something like that. Like, for 6 years she was believed.
You can't use that as a catch-all, though.
Yeah, unquestioningly believed for 6 years. You're just excluding that.
Right.
Because you feel that way. Just you're giving me an emotional argument to something they have put evidence to, like actual things to, and it just feels like you're just shitting. You're spewing shit out and leaving it out there for people to see, and until it backfires and gets you canceled at some point, like.
Yeah, another 10 years from now, they'll end up canceled.
Yeah,
because
and I feel like we should grow out of that. We should.
You're right. I had I guess I won't use names, but our friend Chris, we'll say that part. His girlfriend, you know her, right?
Knew her, yes.
I mean, you know who she is, right?
Yeah, I know.
I had a discussion with her. Every once in a while, I would talk to her on Facebook, but this was like months and months ago. And she kind of made the same point you did. You know, there are some people that believe certain things just simply because they're susceptible to believe them. And that's it. They're not stupid. They're not bad people. They're just susceptible to it.
And that's why echo chambers happen. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it
makes you feel good to be
But
justified.
Her point was just simply, justified. It's not necessarily fair to be mad or, you know, be hateful towards somebody simply because they're susceptible to that level of thinking, because they're so easily manipulated or not even manipulated. That's a negative connotation.
Well, the manipulation only comes from if the person who's saying it, I believe, knows they're manipulating somebody, and two, has ill intentions. That's the only time I feel like manipulation works, because manipulation technically just means to direct someone.
But I know what you mean. But that's what I mean. That negative connotation of
it has
deliberately misleading somebody. But just the idea that, you know, some people just are, not just some people. I think a lot of people, most people, are just susceptible to that sort of. I don't even want to use the word brainwashing, because it again has a negative connotation, and it's not that. It's just simply
suggestion. It's suggestion. Yeah,
and you know, to dislike somebody or hate somebody or feel that they're inferior just because they were persuaded by that suggestion isn't really fair. And I mean, if we could all kind of think a little more like that, that would be good. Did you watch the South Park post-COVID special?
No, I don't often watch South Park.
I just, I mean, it came out months ago. I just happened to watch. Actually, I started watching it like 2 months ago, and then I finally finished it.
I'm sorry. I'll say it like this: I probably watch 2 or 3 episodes every 4 years.
That's
I don't
fair.
really watch. Most of South Park I've seen was when Cartman made that bully eat his parents.
That was when it was
great. Which is my favorite episode. I love that episode. I love dark humor.
Well, I mean, the show in general has morphed quite a bit in what it does.
Okay, and the Coon episodes. That's what I was going to say.
Those were good, too.
All the Coon episodes I loved.
Some of the more recent
I like the games,
episodes,
too. I did like the games.
The games were good. Oh, the games were really good. I enjoyed the games. Some of the more recent seasons have been a little more narrative and having an overarching story throughout the season. And I don't know. It's not bad, but anyway, just the end of the episode, basically everybody, it's during COVID times, you know, like when it was really bad, everybody hated each other, and you know, Trump was around, everybody hated each other because of him. And everybody just got really high there. I was like, we should cut each other some slack. There's no reason to hate you just because you feel a little different, because they're all super high. It's just like, oh, there you go. That's the solution.
I was talking to Chris the other day, and we kind of were thinking that's how people in the 90s generally were.
Yeah.
Generally, like the average person in the 90s was like, yeah, we don't get along, but
cut you a little slack though.
We'll cut you a little slack.
That's
why there was so many like black guy, white guy buddy cop movies during that time.
Man,
so many of them.
There were a lot.
There were so many of them.
2 was on the other day. I was watching it. I forgot how ridiculously funny it was.
That was just the way we thought. It was like, you know what? We're different, but I don't like the way you do things, but sometimes it works out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's not really harming me too much. So
but then again, not saying the 90s were great or anything. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying back then we knew Donald Trump was a monster, but we didn't care.
Yeah.
Because he was a bad guy in just about anything he was in.
Oh,
he was like the pinnacle of bad guy, like rich bad guy. To
it's funny because you could go back
we just didn't
watch.
Care.
Yeah, you could go back and watch stuff from the 90s where they like act like they basically talk about how he's this crazy shithead.
Yeah.
And
the
nobody
Little
cared
Rascals.
back then. It was just
he was a villain in the Little Rascals.
Yeah, that's right. He was the one
popcorn
kid's dad,
in the kid's
right?
face.
Yeah, that's right. But that was just the way it was. It's like, ha ha ha! Look at that monster.
Like, I just wish we took that attitude in a further direction. We're just like, well, that's wrong. You're going to jail. Like, but we're gonna smile about it.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, maybe we can clean up the world through removing litter in every aspect, whether it be physical litter or internet litter or emotional litter.
Well, don't worry. The super volcano will go off at one point. The sun will explode. The Hadron Collider will finally swallow us whole.
I feel like
and
we
there
have
won't
to
be any more litter.
So long for those things to happen, though. There's got to be a way to, get this to go a little quicker. I can't think of words. I'm trying to think of make the process more expeditiously. I can't think of words lately.
More expeditiously. I know that's not correct. It's just funny to say.
I think my brain's melting inside slowly.
I'll tell you what I tell my sister every time I talk to her. The more time goes on, the more I realize that we are living in ending G.
Ending G?
Ending G. For those who play games, and especially games like Clock Tower, games with multiple endings, they would be ending A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Okay.
Sometimes then ending Z, which was always bad endings. They were always bad endings, but they were weird. For the game Clock Tower, if I'm not mistaken, I might be completely wrong because I'm going to look this up at some point.
Was Clock Tower tabletop or a video game?
Oh no, Clock Tower was a computer game and a Super Nintendo game.
Why don't I remember this?
Then was remade on the PlayStation. Was basically you get chased by this guy called the Scissor Man. You're this girl in a haunted mansion.
Okay.
With a bunch of orphan girls, and you are running away from this. Well, okay, this little person with these giant scissors who's chasing you down.
That's terrifying.
And it's like a puzzle game, but like with delayed physics, so you don't directly control her. You tell her to go a direction, and she'll go in that direction.
After the fact.
Yeah, and random things can kill you. Like if you look in a mirror for too long, hands come out and choke you.
This sounds awesome.
The game terrified me. I used to play the ROM, and when I was younger, the game used to terrify the hell out of me.
I can't believe I've never heard of it.
And in the endings, it's so funny. I'm actually going to look this up because I have to tell you what ending G is. Because there are multiple endings.
Well, I mean, I'm familiar with the concept. That's not uncommon in gaming in general to have multiple endings and have one just bizarre, fucked up ending or really bad ending.
Well, yeah, and those were the games. Clock Tower was one of the ones that popularized that. And
Gotcha.
so, there's one ending. One of my favorite ones is that you find this car and you could just leave. If you find the keys, you could just fucking leave.
Like, fuck this game. Oh, you didn't have to go through any of the bad shit. You win.
Yeah, like you just abandon your friends, abandon everything, and just bounce.
Reminds me of Maniac Mansion. I love Maniac Mansion. The game was so good.
So let's see.
Did you ever play Maniac Mansion?
You know what? Yes, I have.
Oh, the game was so good. You could find the one guy character's hamster and take it and then put it in the microwave.
Oh god.
And then you could go bring it back to him and give it to him.
So
and he killed you. Then he kill you.
In one of the endings, you find the car and you bounce. And when you leave, you see her driving and she looks in the rearview mirror and the scissor man's scissors come up and she's presumably killed in the car.
Right.
Ending G takes that a step further. So you get in the car, you escape.
Okay.
And you actually leave. The scissor man doesn't pop up. And you get like you get the credits. Like the game gives you the credits. You escaped. But then after the credits, you were found dead in your apartment. So they fuck with you a step further.
I love it. That's fantastic though.
And that's the ending I think we are in.
That does seem like the ending we would be in. Everything is okay, and then you're dead.
It's just like, oh no, we thought we made it. No. Like you just had to wait for the credits to roll.
That sounds really good. Have you played now we're gonna talk about video games a little bit. Have you played Until Dawn? The game?
Yeah.
It's the horror game. The game was good. There's a sequel out now. Do you see that?
Well, no, there's a whole series. They have a whole series of games like the Man of Medan.
There's more than just
the Quarry.
I didn't realize. I thought there was just
no, just like a whole series of games. They were doing what's it? It's called like Nightmare Studios or something. Not or
I'll have to look it up.
There's a whole bunch of games. Yeah, you should check them out.
Just what you were talking about reminded me of, just
Clock Tower is very much so
multiple crazy fucked up endings based on how you were able to, I guess, address your or navigate
handle the problems,
the shit that you had to deal with in the game.
Yeah, Clock Tower is definitely like the matron of a lot of that type of game.
There goes the dog.
Oh yeah, hello. Although funny enough, one of the characters, the dude with the glasses in Until Dawn, to my kids, they think he looks like Chris.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I was like,
I'm looking forward to playing the Quarry. I have to wait for it to go on sale,
and
then I'll pick it
so
up.
Good. I hear it's so good.
I mean, not that I want this to become a gaming podcast, but I already have like 4 or 5 games in the hopper I want to play, so I'll wait till it goes on sale. I'll get it for cheap.
Yeah, I'm on Xbox One and currently I
thought you got the new. Yeah, you got the new one, right?
I said one, didn't it? The Series
whatever.
X. Series X. And it was. I ended up beating Elden Ring, and I'm playing that slowly now. I went through it, and now I'm just playing it real slow, like kind of trying to become a Dark Soulsian, because I played all the Souls games, but I'm not the same. I'm not one of the get good bros.
I don't have the patience. I just don't.
You know what? Elden Ring, I feel like, is the game that would be a good entry point for anybody who generally doesn't play it.
Well, I'm
because
the way I look at games now, I'm at the age now where I just want to enjoy it. I don't want it to be super, super hard. I don't want to play the same part 30 times. I just want to enjoy it.
You know what? One, loading screens is a big difference with starting over and over again. If the loading screen isn't long, it doesn't feel that bad.
Well, on the new generation consoles, the loading, I don't know about the Xbox, but the PS5, it's so quick. It's seconds. Second or two.
Xbox, it depends on the game. Sometimes I'm very surprised about how fast it is.
That's true. It does depend on the game.
But for instance, like with Elden Ring, because since Bloodborne was the first one I beat, and I bought Bloodborne, didn't play it for 4 months after getting to the Blood-Starved Beast, and my
Bloodborne.
best friend who was living with me for a short period of time convinced me to keep trying, and the sense of accomplishment I got from finally doing it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
I played Bloodborne for 30 minutes, and I
was
quickly
like,
went, fuck this.
Why are these hobos kicking the shit out of me?
Well, if I recall correctly, I was in an area, and I had gotten pretty far in the area, and then I died, and I had to go right back to the beginning. And it was like a good amount of time. I'm now used to games currently where I just basically die and pick up where I left off, or maybe like a minute or two previously.
I have a hard time playing games that like I feel little to no punishment from losing. Like for me, it's like playing a Lego game. It's like playing one of the Lego games. I will literally just bull through a boss battle because you don't lose anything when you die. Like you just die and then you come right back.
I'm totally okay with that because I don't want to I don't want to feel punishment. I'm playing to enjoy myself.
But then you loved Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, it's a great game.
Yeah, that game punishes the shit out of you too.
But there's a difference. It's not your progression that's punished. It's just you might get to a part that's really hard, and it takes a lot of learning how to get through that particular portion. But it's not like you lose and you have to go back and redo a bunch of shit,
I'll tell you something that happened to me in Ghost of Tsushima then. I reached a part in the game I guess I wasn't supposed to go to.
Yes, that happens
I wasn't supposed to go in the way I did. I was supposed to go in through the front.
Makes sense.
And I was too smart for the game, so the game had a bunch of dudes pelt arrows at me.
I did that too.
I died instantly.
I did that too. Same thing. I was like, I'm going to sneak around the back of this place and climb up this giant fucking wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It punished me by sending me across the island.
Oh, that's
rough. I had to travel back across the goddamn island.
It has fast travel in it, doesn't it?
Not at that point anyway.
Oh, you hadn't gotten a checkpoint or fast travel point in that area.
Yeah, I was just...
Everybody stopped listening at this point, by the way.
Yeah, no, this is for me. Anymore. This is all for me to bitch at you about.
If you guys made it to this point, good for you.
Good for you. Oh, I'm not a gamer. Fuck this shit. No, but I do suggest anybody who hasn't, and I'm surprised if anyone hasn't, to really like it. Elden Ring, I feel like, is the least punishing of the series. You do have to get past, and this is for anybody because even I had to do it, feeling lost, and I don't mean physically lost, like just feeling like a loss, like you're not doing good.
Not doing anything. You're not doing
You're not making any progress because literally once you get past that hurdle, and it'll happen at any time in different places for anybody. Once you get past that, holy shit, the game it opens up like immensely to you, and not like because the game world is different. It's because you opened up. Like,
you just feel like you know what you're doing now.
Yeah, and you feel like you are just as dangerous as any of the bosses you fight. And you will find a bullshit boss, I guarantee it, but you'll have the determination to go through it.
Well, I do have the determination to get through those kind of situations. Like, I mean, like you said, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn. There are games like that where there are boss battles that you are going to do a bunch of times. It's going to be a battle where you have to learn what you're doing, figure out the best way to approach it, and really fight through it, and you may have to do it 50 times. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is a portion of a level or a mission or whatever where I get to a certain point, die, and then I just have to go do the whole thing over again and over again and over again.
I'll say like this.
I don't mind the battle part. I hate the repetitiveness of going back to a stage.
I feel Elden Ring is more like Ghost of Tsushima with less hand-holding.
Ghost of Tsushima had very little hand-holding, I thought, too.
No, I feel like it was very rigid with how, like, for instance, I feel like the Batman games, Arkham games, hand-hold in combat.
Oh,
it's like playing Simon Says.
Right.
Like I played the game without the sense over the head, and I just have to learn the animation.
Right.
But Ghost of Tsushima feels more like that, closer to the Batman.
I guess you're right.
Where Elden Ring feels like it's on the opposite end of that same spectrum. If Ghost of Tsushima is right in the middle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I feel like Elden Ring is less handholdy, less fluid, but the fluidity in combat comes from you as opposed to an animation. Like once you learn, okay, this weapon swings like this, okay, I feel like I understand how to move using this type of weapon.
That makes sense to me.
And it's way more forgiving. Holy shit, is it way more forgiving than any other Souls game?
Oh well,
So-
I've heard, and like I mean, based on the reputation of the Dark Souls games, I will never even bother to load one up. So,
yeah, at one point I might bring my system and let you try it.
maybe. All right,
I'm
I
trying
actually got to wrap up
indoctrinate.
because
Yes.
my son's got a doctor's visit. He's got to be there in half an hour. I guess
Oh, you
Wow,
son
we-
of a bitch! Make me feel guilty. No,
we were.
we
what do you
we
mean?
did over an hour.
I know. Well, we had to make up for last week because I fucked up and we didn't get to record last week. So we did a double episode this week. That's all.
Pretty much, just more us bullshitting. Got it.
Yeah. So typical wrap up stuff. If you could please subscribe. Be sure to share if you like what you hear. Tell somebody else about us so we can grow who's listening and hopefully continue to do more of this stuff. That's really all I got to say. Other than fuck you, Litterbugs. Throw your fucking garbage in the trash can.
Personal responsibility.
Yeah. Be responsible for yourself. Just do the little fucking things that make the world a little bit better of a place. All right?
All right.
All right. Yeah, what a lot of bullshit. Fucking can't throw your cup in the fucking garbage can right outside the Dunkin' Donuts, you fucking lazy piece of garbage.
And that's why I hate you. Wow, I fucked that up.